Yes. Right. So we're talking about the Day of the Jackal remake. So in summary, the things I like about it are Eddie Redmayne. It's well shot. For the most part, it's well acted. The things I don't like about it are the changes that they've made to the Jackal's character. I don't like the fact that we know too much about his personal life. He doesn't feel as ruthless as he should be. And also, Lashana Lynch, she's all right, but I think her character is weaker than perhaps what we could have been served up. However, we are only halfway through, so I will reserve final judgment until I've seen the rest of the episodes, which are dropping weekly. And I feel that that they're peaking a little bit too soon with some of the narrative as well. Yeah. So Toxic, you've also seen it. Do you want to jump in with your thoughts?
I mean, let me ask you, say we got a couple Brits on here. Do you guys even believe any of these accents in this show? Does it even seem like the way that British people would actually talk to one another?
Probably not with us, not with working class northern scum like me.
Well, all right, fair enough. I don't buy that. I don't like Lashana Lynch. I don't know who said it. Was that Inside Man or Enzo says she plays the same character in everything she's in?
Actually, that was me that said that.
Oh, okay. All right.
I feel she's very
correct.
I feel she's very similar. My exact
she was the new James Bond lady, right?
Yeah.
I just don't get why. I just don't get why she's in movies. She has no charm, no charisma, no
she's somebody's cousin or DEI hire for sure, because she is talentless. Wait, hold on. Is she going to be on your show someday? And I can't say anything bad about her, Lance.
Well, I mean, just use your. No, you can express an opinion, but just keep it polite.
Okay, politely. I did think she was okay in the Captain Marvel movie. I didn't have a problem with that, but subsequent to that, everything I've seen her in, I have been underwhelmed. So
okay, all right, yeah. Well, that's fair enough.
The way they talk about weapons and things like this, they have a weapons expert that refers to somebody's, semi-auto as a gun. Nobody would ever say that. That pulls me right out of the story when they have somebody say that. I mean, even see Enzo's laughing. Even he knows, like you would not refer to a semi-auto as a gun. Nobody would say that.
That's like saying katana stands for Japanese sword.
Right.
Well, is she like the Richard Gere character, or no? She's like something. She's like an agent.
No, she's more like if you were trying to.
No, she's the Richard Gere character.
But Richard Gere was like a criminal. That was the thing about the 90s Jackal.
Richard Gere was like a they
had to pull him out of jail to catch the bad guy. But I didn't watch the original 70s one, so it's like she's like a trained agent.
I would say she's closer to what they may have intended to be like that hot Russian chick from the 97 film. Okay. I would say where she's like a military contractor, like agent type thing.
Yeah,
she's definitely not the Richard Gere character.
But she's the main protagonist, the one who's after the Jackal, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Okay.
She's the end all be all. Like no one else can do anything. She does it all.
She's girl boss a lot.
Girl boss. She girl bosses it.
That's why I never tried to watch it. That's why I had no interest in watching it, because as soon as she showed up on the poster, I thought, I know what I'm in for. I don't need to watch it.
Yeah, Lance was like at 5 a.m. for me last night. He's like, "Hey, we're gonna talk about the Jackal. Watch that." I was like, "Sure." And then it's 10 hours long and halfway over. I'm like, "Okay, well, I'll wait till next week or whatever." I don't know.
Well, you know how I do things. I'll always try to give something a chance. I even tried to give like True Lies a chance. Like if it pops up on streaming, because I have
a show. You mean?
Yeah. If it's a show, yeah, I will try to. I'll because I could be wrong. I'm not always right. I didn't think Penguin was going to be very good.
Well, you know what's funny was we were talking about how movies aren't funny anymore. Like, when was the last time you watched a movie that was hilarious? And they're all before 2016. But with television shows, like, there's been plenty of television shows that have been laugh out loud, So, like, that's kind of where they're like. Meanwhile, like movies are excelling in drama and action, whereas like a lot of the drama action television shows are not, doing it for me. They're too drawn out, too spread too thin, and it's just a lot of padding of time for content for the streaming platforms.
Well, if I can defend myself a little bit, just so everybody doesn't come off with misogynistic vibe or whatever, I will say that a couple years ago I watched the Amazon TV show with the female assassin that they made a TV show out of the movie.
Was that Hannah?
Hannah was and it was quite good. I enjoyed it from start to finish.
It was pretty good.
The movie's good too.
It's been a while. It's been a while, but what's her name? Saoirse Ronan.
Yeah.
My friend Jason Flemyng's in the movie.
TV show's better, and then the show. I know everybody despises Phoebe Waller-Bridge, but her show Killing Eve is incredible. I love that show. So I don't have a problem with it, like if it's done right. But I mean, when it's not done right, you're gonna pull me right out of the story. I mean, Lance, if you want to continue talking about it, I'll keep watching it because you've asked me to. But it's really a chore, man. It's
well, I mean, it started off for me. It started off pretty good. I liked the opening scene. So
they rope you in, Lance.
Right.
I liked Eddie Redmayne's an actor that I sort of feel a little bit indifferent about, but I feel that he was well cast in this role because
I agree.
For me, I find him a bit plain, and in some things I've seen in him, he just doesn't grab me. But for him to play the Jackal, as in the man who's supposed to fade into the background, not stand out, etc., I thought, actually, you know what, he could proper nail this part, and he is pretty good. I mean, he's definitely the best thing about it. They've done this iconic scene, of course, with the melon on the tree and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. Yeah, and I didn't look. It was obvious that there was going to be a female protagonist as the heroine. This is the girlfriend character. But for me, the show's got two really big weak elements to it. One is that the Jackal traditionally has, in the other versions, has no attachments.
Yes.
And here somebody in the executive room, boardroom said, let's humanize him. Let's humanize him. Let's give him a girlfriend. And it's just like, okay. But do you know what? It would have been really good if we'd found that out in like episode 7. That, oh my God, he's actually got a normal life as well. That would have been like a really good revelation to find out about later. But they blew that pretty early. And then they have the family kind of interfering. And he's seeing what the family are doing on a remote camera. But he does fuck all about it. And I was a bit like, the Jackal in the other TV show or in the other movie and in the Bruce Willis movie would just go back and he would kill them all.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is. So that has kind of, before we even get onto the issues with the Lashana Lynch character, that's undermined it for me, annoyingly. And then Lynch as an actress, she's done some stuff that's okay. She is quite a physical person, so she can do the physical roles. It just, I'm just not buying her as. Well, I'm just not buying her as this weapons expert. I'm just not buying her as the person she's supposed to be in this show. She's still quite youthful, and I think.
Well, you should buy her, otherwise you're racist.
But it should be I think it should be an older person going, an older, experienced officer, could be a woman. I don't care about the race. It's the character doesn't feel right to me. I feel like the character should be closer to the characters in the book. Now they've made some choices to modernize it. The younger audience probably loving it. They may well not have these problems. Now, my jury's still out for me. I don't hate the thing. There are a lot of things I like about it, especially Redmayne's performance. And the film does look good. And the action scenes are pretty decent, apart from when they made him get on a horse. At one point, they made him get on a horse. I was like, is John Glenn directing this episode? What's going on here?
You know why they did that, Lance? They did that because they have test things, and they say they like to have handsome guys on horses. That's why they did that.
I can believe that, but I just thought the last thing this guy is going to do as a professional hitman is get on a fucking horse as a route of escape when he's being chased by a car.
You know why I like the 97 version of it is because that kind of assassin. Now, I'm not talking about like a mob hitman or a low-level guy or whatever. I'm talking about the one that travels from country to country, like taking on those kind of assignments. They don't have lives. They don't have personal things going on. And they are like, like the Bruce Willis Jackal. He was perfectly happy to go sleep with a woman or with a man. And there's your DEI right there, because that's the kind of sociopathic, like they don't care as long as if it fits whatever they need to do in that moment. This whole idea, I agree with you, like this whole idea of he's got to have a wifey at home or a girlfriend, and we just know she's going to get kidnapped, and there's going to be a part she's going to get used against him and find out what he does, and it's going to be all dramatic, and it's like, man, it's ludicrous.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the Robert De Niro character in Heat, except he's not met Amy Brennanman yet.
Right, yeah, all right. Let's not go down a Heat rabbit hole. That's a 60-minute conversation right there.
What I like is how Eddie Redmayne is like all ripped and jacked, and he still looks like Stephen Hawking somehow. It's amazing.
I want to talk about the universe.
It's not a well-known fact, but that's actually inside man's body, and Eddie Redmayne's head has been CGI'd on his body there.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm not supposed to say that, though. It's a trade secret.
Trade secret,
It's secret.
Inside Man. I mean, I know you haven't seen it, but you're a fan of the Edward Fox version.
Oh yeah. I mean, he is the Edward Fox version. I mean, I would recommend it to anybody, and of course the Bruce Willis version. And as Toxic says, the guy is a functioning, sociopath, psychopath, even. And he functions. That's what he does. He's very. There's a very kind of impassive, robotic sort of manner to him. There's nothing. There's no. He doesn't sort of exude emotion, or he's not really a particularly emotional person. So this does feel like a massive far cry from both the book and the previous two versions. It really does seem like it's strides away from the original source material and the previous interpretations. Yeah.
But importantly, they have included the Edward Fox red cravat for his costume in this shot. Very important nod. Very important nod. Yeah,
honestly, this sounds like the David Finch version of The Killers did it better. The assassin that has a private life and actually does have some kind of emotional attachments.
That the Fassbender one,
the Michael Fassbender one, yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
They dedicate a fair bit of screen time to Lashana Lynch's character's personal life. She's good. She has a relationship. She's married. She's got a daughter who I think is a stepdaughter, but she's more of a mother to the stepdaughter. Yeah, and that we see more of that than we need to, and it's mainly set up to show that she's dysfunctional. She's not perfect, and she's basically failing her family because she's obsessed about her job. Now, those are all well-worn traits that we've seen before, and it's good that it included it in the context of, yes, okay, she's not a perfect, wham and superhero, but I just felt it was just okay. You could literally hear it in the writers' room. People sitting around. Yeah, well, what we'll do is we'll make her a bit dysfunctional because she's going to be great at her job, but she's going to be shit at this, and she's going to be shit at her personal life. And I could literally just see the boxes.
You genuinely can imagine it, can't you? It would be like the showrunner sitting there with the writers or writer, and just saying, right, look, you can adapt this, can make it as close to the source material as you like. However, I want this and I want that. So as long as you put this, that, and that in, so you can make it really close to the source material. By the way, you need to update it.
Modern audience
need to change this, and you need to change that, and it reaches a point where they didn't. It appears to me, at least, and I don't know what yourself, Lance, and Toxic thinks of this comment, but it appears to me that it sounds so far removed from what it should be that it's a little bit of a cheek using that title.
I would agree. No, I would agree, because when they sort of revealed that he had a relationship, he's got a big house on the coast in some far off part of Spain, and he's got a young Spanish girlfriend. I don't think they're married, but they've got a baby on the way, or they've got a kid. I think they've just had a baby, and I could even buy that, right? But as soon as the annoying mother-in-law and the annoying brother who wants Eddie Redmayne's character to invest in this or invest in that because he's got shitloads of money, as soon as they start breaking his cover, what I wanted to see was him immediately go back to the house, walk in, and kill them all except for his girlfriend, who somehow he would avoid either killing, or he would get her out the house with a phone call. He would then go back in. He would kill all of that family and dispose of the bodies. And that would have been great. That would have been really shocking. And it would have been very in keeping with the character. But at the minute, he hasn't done any of that. Now, maybe that scene's coming, but I feel like because they've put this in our faces so early and they made them a threat to him, he should have taken them out already, because he's supposed to be that good. So I'm kind of thinking it's a shame, because Eddie Redmayne's pretty good in this, and they're kind of undermining him in the show. Critical, have you seen it?
No, I've not seen this new one. I did look at the trailer, and I thought the trailer looked all right, but from what you're saying, it sounds like they've demasculated him all to all hell. So it's I mean, I'm not as brutal about it as Toxic. I think there are good things in the show. And it wasn't an unenjoyable watch, but it was a frustrating watch at times. I was really interested in Eddie Redmayne against time. I was just like, that's something different for him, and I do think he's a very good actor, so I might still check it out.
So this is the Day of the Jackal in name only, would you say?
Yeah.
It's more. It's very similar. Okay, so if you've seen any kind of spy show on NBC, or any of the big networks, really, but let's specific to this because it's NBC. If you've seen any of those, kind of spy shows, you've seen this show. If you can take my meaning with that, So
the other change that they've made is that there's a traitor. There's a traitor within the British organisation, because somebody is passing information onto the people who have contracted the Jackal, and then somebody there is passing information onto the Jackal. So and it's set up that the traitor is most likely one of the two characters in this image. So either Leah Williams's character or a Chawundi. It's probably going to be Leah Williams, I think, ultimately. But
I wonder why.
We'll see. I've met her, by the way. She's fucking awesome. Awesome person, awesome character. And just a fantastic actress. Very underused in this show. I would much rather see 10 more scenes with Leah Williams in than any more scenes with Lashana Lynch's home life and sort of, stuff to do with her kid. And I mean, to be fair, the kid gets threatened. So she does become vulnerable because of that. That something happens with someone, but I don't know. I just don't buy this whole thing with her where she's prepared to break the rules and torture, possibly permanently maim or lie to somebody. There's a whole subplot with a woman in Ireland who knows the person who may have made the rifle, who may have made the new rifle for the Jackal, and she basically has her daughter taken off the streets by the police. The daughter dies in custody because she has a rare condition, and this character, the protagonist that we're supposed to be rooting for, deliberately lies to her informant and doesn't tell her what's happened to the daughter, says the daughter's safe in order to still extrapolate the information out of her, then puts her in a position of vulnerability so that her partner then kills her. So the protagonist, again, supposedly the person you're supposed to be rooting for in this show, if this show was done right, you'd be rooting for, like in Heat, when you come to the end gun battle in Heat, you're rooting for both De Niro and you're rooting for Pacino. That's why Heat is so fucking brilliant. In this, you're not rooting for Lynch at all. You're only rooting for Redmayne. Because Lynch kills people as part of her job. She's a terrible officer. So ruthless, and trying to get to the truth, but at what cost? Basically, she's worse than he is. So I find that dichotomy is a bit of a weird message. What are you trying to say then? That we shouldn't root for the intelligence services of our country? We should be rooting for the terrorists instead? What are you trying to say?
Right. Yeah. Now I get what they're trying to say.
Yeah, it sounds more like if you have a vagina, it's okay.
Yeah.
Not terrorists,
It is.
freedom fighters.
Big corporate
You
tech
stop
people
calling
are
them
bad.
terrorists.
Big corporate tech people are bad guys, because they're billionaires. They have control.
He is trying to take out a big corporate tech guy, but the big corporate tech guy is trying to give something to everybody for free. That's the reasoning.
Yeah, and it's obviously going to be, but there's there's a little something that you don't know why this is free. We're not going to tell you why this is a free bit of tech or software or whatever. And that's what it's trying to say. Corporate tech billionaires. Tech billionaires are bad guys. That's what they're saying.
And Charles Dance is in it. Not very much.
Oh no, not Charles Dance. Come on, he's such a talented actor.
He knows that he's passing away soon, so he's shoring up as much money as he can before he passes. Yeah,
his legacy is secure.
Critic Cow, are you currently wearing a snake around your neck?
I am. Yes.
He's the snake and spider guy.
For all those people watching, this is a Critic Cow fashion accessory. No snakes were harmed during the making of this stream.
Not your long snake, Alan. This is not true.
Playing my snake on stream. Oh dear.
Hang on, what's that in that jar behind you that's like stuck on the glass?
That is a fake. The Regal Alien Romulus popcorn bucket. Well, I thought I'd got one on eBay.
I was going to say, I thought it was a face hugger. Yeah,
but it's a 3D printed fake, unfortunately.
That's pretty good. That looks good. I like the way it's up and everything. Yeah, like that. That's
just something for background.
Okay, before we move on from the present Jackal, just going to have a look at the chat. Toxic's talking about a teenage Batgirl. I'm not sure what that's got to do with anything. Wormy Spoons, is it free speech? What's that? What's this? I have no idea what they're talking about.
Screw the patriarchy.
But we've got Adam Gray is here, so excellent. Good to see the 2 minutes of Boom Boom is over. Blue Collar is on a sick day. So
I'll bet he is.
Well, you got no sympathy from me. If you're going to eat a big packet of Cheez-Its with a load of alcohol, you're going to be doing the Ho Chi Minh two-step. So at the minute for me it's a 5 out of 10, and that's generous because I'm not loving it. I'm not hating it, but there's a lot about it that could be better. It's okay. I am curious to see what the reviews on IMDb are saying before we move on to the original, and then we'll talk briefly about the Bruce Willis one. There are 89.
Rotten Tomatoes.
You can have a quick look on there, mate. So, okay, so the first review, Lashana Lynch ruins a decent remake. Where have we gone wrong? Eddie Redmayne shines, but casting choices hold the Day of the Jackal back from greatness. So, yeah, I would agree with this review. Eddie Redmayne is a standout in the Day of the Jackal, bringing depth and intensity to the role, keeping the audience on edge with every move. Yeah, I did like that about him. You're not quite sure where you are with him a lot of the time, which I like. Lashana Lynch, however, feels a bit mismatched in her role here. Whilst talented, her portrayal doesn't quite sync with Redmayne's nuanced delivery, sometimes disrupting the flow and immersion. Yeah, I mean, that's a fair comment. I don't think she's untalented. I think she is talented, but I think she's slightly miscast here. That would be my... Got some 10 out of 10s, imperfect, but I love what they've tried to do. Great assassin. Quality.
Why would you give it a 10 out of 10? I don't
How
understand.
can you give it a 10 out of 10 if you like what somebody has tried to do?
No. I'm reading these out one at a time. Yeah.
Okay. I thought 10 out of 10 was imperfect, but I love what they're trying to do. I was like, what?
No. 10 out of 10 is Redmayne shines in slick remake.
Gotcha. All right. Okay.
8 out of 10. Great interpretation of the book.
I can tell you, Rotten Tomatoes love it. 90%.
Well, there you go. 10 out of 10.
But then again, like how much of this is astroturfing? You know, you never know. Like Lance does. You got to look at the actual reviewers and see what you know.
Modern audience, isn't it? You know, I mean, they love that. So
totally miscast. 8 out of 10.
I mean, this is a very weird review because this person has given 8 out of 10. They don't like Redmayne because they say he's miscast. Lynch's character's not likable at all. Didn't like her in Bond. The show's very Bond-esque.
The general consensus.
Team Jackal all the way. So they don't like the two lead actors, but apart from that, they love the show and they give it 8 out of 10. Okay, all right. Don't become a film reviewer, but stick with your day job. I like this one. Not bad, except, and it's 5 out of 10. Oh, it's not bad. 5 out of 10. This is actually a decent enough show, except for the scenes with Lashana Lynch. Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Don't be so hard on her, guys.
No, I like I said,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Throw her to the wolves. I don't care.
So, Luke, you're saying she comes across? Have you seen her in interviews? I haven't really.
Yeah. Every time, like she's always doing these woke stuff, and when it fails, she's one of these entitled brats that blames white men for it. It's she's
all right.
Something about her. It just puts me off there. I don't think she can act. I really don't think she can act. I mean, she was just kind of passable in Captain Marvel, like Toxic mentioned, but that wasn't enough to make me convinced that I should have her cast in nearly every single thing.
Well, it's a shame because we you know, I do like to stay positive on this channel. I like to recommend things to people. On that basis, let's talk about the Ed Fox version. So this came out in 1973, and as Inside Man will know, during Christmas and holiday times, they always trailered it, always showing the action scene from the start where they attempt to assassinate de Gaulle. That scene, I would always miss for some reason, whatever happened as a kid. I'd always be like, Day of the Jackal, right? Yeah, and I'd come down and it had been on for 10 minutes. That scene is like right at the beginning. So, and it is a slow burn for like a 7-year-old kid. I'd be like, when's the shooting starting, Mum? You know, like back then I was all about James Bond. But when I watched it properly as an adult for the first time, I was about 19. Man, it's a good film. Such a good movie.
It is. It's better than the book.
It's like a detective sort of, more like a detective thriller, really. As you know, the policeman is hot on his trail. He's one step behind him. I really liked it, and I thought Edward Fox was fantastic in it.
The thing about Edward Fox in this is not quite talking like this all the time, and every other movie he speaks like that.
But he doesn't talk like Richard
64
Gere
miles behind enemy lines.
Hello, Joe.
But he doesn't talk like Richard Gere doing that terrible Irish accent that he did in the 90s version.
Yeah, just a wee bit rusty.
I need to get me a proper razor. I need a shave.
I've got a gerbil somewhere that it shouldn't be. I need help with that.
Can somebody give me a fork?
I got to find me. I got to find me a pretty woman to have her
Taking the
week.
gerbil out with a fork is the funniest mental image I've ever had.
Well,
Right,
enough of that. He is
moving on. There's the cravat that they gave a nod to in with Eddie Redmayne. There you go. He's all.
I mean, this guy's stylish, man. Back in these days, like this man, it's a good look. The ascot and the high waters.
Nobody here is going to bring back the tucked-in cravat. We do.
Yeah, nobody here is going to convince me that Lance wouldn't look baller at the club with a cravat on like that.
I think we need to bring back the foot-long zippers. Like, I don't know why zippers are so short all of a sudden, but the idea of the zipper, like, you have to use your whole elbow, like,
Well,
like
we know why you want that to be.
It's like Lyndon B. Johnson. I need those extra wide pants,
Yeah, we know.
You need a bit of room to swing around in there.
But I gotta say, man, I was telling you guys the story. I was telling Inside Man and Lance the story backstage, but like my mom, she loves Die Hard, you guys know, and she was watching. I remember when I was living in Austin and she was living alone, and she called me one day saying, "I'm watching this movie with Bruce Willis. It's really good." I was like, "What is it?" "It's The Jackal." I'm like, "Okay." Now here's the thing. My mother always used to say that Jack Black reminds me of her, and I was like, "Okay, what part are you at?" And she's like, "Oh, Jack Black is about to sell him a gun," and I was like, "Okay, well, call me back in about 10 minutes." And then she calls me back in like 10 minutes, just like crying on the phone. He killed my baby. He killed my boy. I didn't like that at all.
What? That's the most hilarious thing ever in the movie.
That's the best part of the movie for sure.
Well,
because A, it shows off how awesome the gun is, and B, it shows how ruthless he is. And Jack Black has one of a few on-screen deaths he has. He dies in that one, and Mars Attacks, and not much else. If I was in a movie, if I was an actor, I would only pick roles where I had violent, awesome deaths. Like I was a henchman or like one of the murder victims. Like that'd be amazing.
Bill Paxton and Sean Bean have got a pretty good track record.
I want to get killed by a predator. I want to get killed by an alien. I want to get killed by Jason Voorhees.
Well, before we get on to the Willis one, so I'm going to give the original Jackal, and incidentally, Derek Jacobi and our good man from Moonraker.
Who's that actress?
Drax from Moonraker, who's played by Michael Lonsdale. They play the two detectives that are on the trail. I think that's Inside Man's Wife on the left. Anyway, I'll give this 9 out of 10. This version. Can we have other views from the panelists, other scores, and also anyone in chat who has seen the Edward Fox version? What would you give it out of 10?
Yeah, I shamefully said that the Bruce Willis version is the only Jackal adaptation I've seen. So I'll probably watch this one later.
Yeah, it's a good movie. It really is a good movie. I mean, an easy 9 out of 10, really. And,
I'll give it 9. So 2 9 out of 10s. Luke, have you seen this one?
Sadly, no. I've got it on my list though.
Yeah. No, they don't stock 1970s films in video stores in that area of the country. So I understand.
Oh, this actress from the 70s one is named Olga Georges Picot, Picot, and she's a 10 out of 10 for sure.
Gorgeous woman,
lovely lady.
Critical, have you seen this one? This version?
No, I've not. I've like the other guys. I've only seen the Bruce Willis one.
Definitely should watch it.
Check it out. Yeah. Is
it
on YouTube?
It is on YouTube. Yeah.
Let's go find out how it is.
Yeah, Paul Smith. I do like Lashana Lynch as an actress. I'm just not sure it's the best role for her. But I am going to reserve judgment. I'm going to reserve judgment until I've seen the whole thing.
Man, I wish Vex was here because then she could say all the bad stuff she wants about Lashana Lynch, and Lance would let it slide.
Right. Yeah.
I would not let it slide. Okay. Anyone else want to give this a rating out of 10?
I think the 70s version is almost not quite, but almost as dry as the book version. I read the book in the joint. Yeah, I read the book in the joint just because I really like Frederick Forsyth. He's got a lot of good stuff. and you read a lot there. The book's okay, or the movie's okay. It didn't do a lot for me. It's one of those things where maybe if I was born in a different era, like Inside Man, and I'd grown up in the 40s and 50s, then maybe I could have appreciated it more.
It's still trading on that one joke.
All right, yeah, he does that, but it is 2 hours and 35 minutes long, which is like
it's really dry. It's really
gotta be
dry.
long. It's gotta be awesome if it's gonna like Heat. We were talking about Heat earlier. Like that movie. It's like the bank robberies at the 2 hour mark, and you're like, there's another hour of this, and you're like, hell yeah, with some of these movies, you're like, there's another hour left, and you're like,
yeah, but that's the beauty of these movies from the 70s. They always kind of take their time and build up.
Oh yeah, opening scenes are rarely a thing in the 70s, like a big awesome like opening scene that kind of sets the tone and gets everyone excited. So many 70s movies just start with like dudes in a boardroom table or something, just like the movie just slowly starts developing.
Well, that's not always a bad.
No,
that's not always a bad thing. You get if you take. I think this might actually be the 60s, but the original Mechanic is very, very slow and drawn out.
That's also 1973.
Oh, is it in the 70s? Okay,
73. Yeah.
But that keeps your attention.
Yeah, it does.
The whole thing, and maybe it's because I saw the Mechanic when I was like 10 or 12, way before I saw this film. So maybe that's why. I don't know, but I find that one just to be a lot more engaging as far as that goes. And so
I just realized the guy on the left in this picture, Inside Man, that's the dodgy antique stealer from Bergerac, isn't it? The guy that was always kind of up to no good in Bergerac, was always had his little schemes.
I've never watched Bergerac. I have to confess.
Mate, neither did I, but I saw the opening titles and then I would kind of duck out. But yeah, okay. Well, that's the 70s version. Then we have the Bruce Willis version. I saw this at the cinema. Thought it was pretty good. I liked the new take with Richard Gere being a criminal. That has to help them. I thought that was a good idea. I thought Bruce Willis actually. I thought he rocked this blonde hair.
He rocked.
Dude, he rocked all the hairstyles. Yeah. He has
such
great haircuts in this one.
God, he was great in this.
I might be going for this Willis look in the near future. Just incidentally.
You should.
There's
Enzo. There's Enzo right there.
Hold up that pack of cigarettes, Enzo. Don't keep still.
Leslie Phillips, little job for him.
What's great about this movie is Bruce Willis totally overshadows Richard Gere and Sidney Poitier. But Richard Gere is he's the main good guy, but it's like he's got such a backseat in terms of like in the eyes of the audience. He's the good guy, he saves the day, but like every other character, especially all the other actors, like they're so much more interesting than him. Like, oh man, Bruce Willis he should have played more bad guys,
Yeah, is it Willis's finest hour, this movie, from an acting point of view? What role has he done that's better than this one? 12 Monkeys, maybe.
Yeah. But this role has a lot of range, because he gets to
play that's what I mean.
Characters, yeah. But I do love Bruce Willis in 12 Monkeys. 12 Monkeys is also Brad Pitt's best performance too.
I like him in Death Becomes Her as well because he's not
so
action man. He's like this. He's like a total dork in it.
He's really great at comedy and Blind Date's awesome.
It may not be his best role, but I mean I can't get any better than PI detective Joe Hollenbeck and
Last Boy Scout.
Oh,
Hudson Hawk and all those dumb movies are so fun. But he's got this great like what's happened, what the hell's going on kind of attitude in like all of his earlier movies. And in Death Becomes Her, one of my favorite parts of any movie ever is when the maid goes to wake up Meryl Streep, and it's like open the curtains, shower her with praise, turn on classical music. Then you go wake up the husband. He's asleep on the floor in his office, and she like wakes him up with a Bloody Mary. And he's like, here's your drink. And he wakes up and he like takes the Bloody Mary, takes the celery out of it, throws it on the ground. Then he drinks it. He's just like, more vodka. I need more vodka in this. It's just
what's that line in there? Death Becomes Her. It's like, you put her in the morgue, she'll be furious.
Yeah. But Bruce Willis is so great. A lot of, I feel like they're kind of going for like a lot of sex appeal for the ladies for this Jackal movie,
Let me go through the panel one at a time. Give me your final thoughts on this movie and your ratings out of 10. Inside Man.
Yeah, not bad. Bruce Willis, good performance. Rate it 7, I'd say. It's kind of okay. It's not my favorite Bruce Willis movie, but it's kind of okay.
Yeah, well, Die Hard favorite one, obviously. 7 out of 10 from me. I'll give it the same. Northern English Bastard.
Yeah, I'd probably give it 7 out of 10 because the main characters are a little bit bland, but they have some good actors to really, help. They're doing their best with the script they got, and they actually still do a good job. But it is Bruce Willis's film. From the beginning, he steals every bloody scene, and he is acting his ass off, and he is really convincing as this cold-blooded killer. And the action is very good. And the hot Russian chick he was on about Toxic, that is the same actress that plays Al Pacino's wife.
I know. I know,
because it took me a while before I realised that for a long time, because she does look a little bit different, and she kind of looks like she's built a bit different in this one. Like she's
you're going down a rabbit hole now. I'm going to have to hurry.
Yeah, 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10.
Stepenzo, final rating. Out of 10.
I would say this movie gets like a 4 out of 10, but it goes up to 6 or 7 because of Bruce Willis' performance. And it's a pretty mediocre movie, but it's peppered with some really awesome scenes. There's 2 or 3 scenes that are like must watch. You got to see them. Even if you don't watch the whole movie. But yeah,
does it go up 8 out of 10 because Blackjack gets killed in it?
Now that's part of the 2 points. Yeah. Jack Black getting his torso exploded.
Hudson Hawk definitely not anyone's finest hour. Although Richard Grant was having a ball in that film. Lord of Toxicity, what would you give this version?
I give it a good solid 8. It's one of my favorite 90s action thrillers, and I'll remind you guys, there was a lot of show don't tell in this movie. There's a lot of times when Bruce Willis, the Jackal, he's on his own and he's doing his trade craft, and it doesn't explain it. There's no voiceover. There's no cop that comes in later and says, "Oh, look what he did. He put this special chemical on the license plate to get these guys." And oh, look how he clocked himself to have this thing ready. Like there's no exposition and stuff like that. You just have to kind of you're like, what is he doing? Why is he doing this? And
we used to take that stuff for granted back in those days.
I liked all that. I thought all that was really good.
And Sidney Poitier is always a win. Always a win.
Yeah, he's good in it. Critical, have you seen this version?
Yeah, this is the version I have seen. I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's a good film. I don't think it's a great film, but like Toxic says, it's kind of smart. It doesn't. I mean, to be fair, compared to anything these days, most films back then would be smart. But yeah, it's cool. It's slick. It's got good action scene, good acting. It's a 7 out of 10. There's nothing amazing about it. It wouldn't make my list or anything, but yeah, it's all right.
All right, we're going to move on. So this week, after being remastered and going under the treatment of the Bionic Man, for the first time ever, a show has arrived on Blu-ray. Yeah, that's right. And I'll probably get copyright flagged just for that clip. Blake 7 is now on Blu-ray. It has arrived here. I got this today. Now, what's interesting about it is, and this is the reason I bought it, is because they've not just released it on Blu-ray. I mean, there's the usual extras, and it's from the best prints and all that kind of stuff. A show that I enjoyed very much as a kid. But the other thing that they've done is they've reshot all the special effects with new models and stuff.
Oh.
So all the shots of the ships, apart from the opening titles, are new.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
I think that the effect shots, some of them were very bad. So on a nice special edition booklet with a load of blurb. It's just the first series. I mean, I splashed out on this. I really didn't need it. But it was a massive part of my childhood, and I'm kind of enjoying watching it again. And it's interesting to see what they've done. They haven't made the effect shots too like outrageously modern. So, for example, the things that they've done is they've gone for similar angles and stuff like that, and they've gone for similar colours, and they've gone for similar design. So it's not like it's really jarring, but some of the stuff with the ships were pretty dreadful. Anyway, it's a really nice, the physical media aspect of it's really nice packaging, really nice art. The booklet's lovely, and it does look good. I've seen, I think, 4 episodes this afternoon. So, I give it an 8 out of 10 overall. If you're a diehard Blake Seven fan, you've definitely got to get it. We don't need to talk about the show really, but I'll give everybody a chance to chip in on it if they wish. Anybody inside man, you got any comments to say about Blake Seven?
Yeah, I mean, I used to love this. This was kind of, when Doctor Who finished, back in the sort of late 70s, early 80s, you'd be looking forward to Blake Seven. It was kind of an extension of the whole sci-fi thing, wasn't it? But yeah, back in the day, it was really good. I'm not sure, how I feel really about the replacing the effects and everything. I think I'd be okay with it.
You've got the option of watching it as it was as well,
right?
Then
that's fine. Yeah. That would be fine for me. Yeah.
They've kind of done what they did with Star Trek, with the original series Star Trek. They've kind of updated.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. They've remastered that with CGI.
Yeah, I liked some of the stuff they did with that, and some of it I didn't like. I liked the original Planet Killer more than the one that they.
It looks very fake, doesn't it? Very fake. More fake than the model that they used.
But yeah, I think the effect shots here, it looks good. I'm enjoying watching it again. Jacqueline Pearce, the late Jacqueline Pearce, was a friend of mine, as seen on the cover in the lower middle. So always good value to see her. She took me out drinking one time, and that was nice. That was an evening. Anti-derivative Jill is in the chat. So Blake Seven was so middle class, I flipping hated it. Well, it was about the resistance going around and taking out other people, but it was all posh people. It was in posh space, because everybody went to BAFTA who was in it. So, Jill says, got to have that original windsock cornucopia of death. Is that for Blake Seven or is that for the
No, that's the Planet Killer.
Oh, yeah. The windsock. Yeah, for the Planet Killer. Yeah. Jill does a terrific Star Trek channel. Mostly Star Trek stuff, but other stuff as well. Do check it out. Anti-Derivative Jill on YouTube. Okay, yeah. So Inside Man, thanks for that. Stupenzo, have you ever seen Blake Seven?
No, never heard of it.
Fantastic. Lord of Toxicity.
I'm sorry, Lance. No.
The Inside. Oh, well, I've done the Inside Man. Northern English Bastard.
Sadly, no.
Critic Out.
Hell?
Have you ever seen Blake Seven?
My dad back in the day, along with the original series of Star Trek. I think I ever saw all of it, but it was just one of those things that he'd have on. I like the fact that it's got the remastered treatment and you can still watch the old version. I really want them to do that to Babylon 5. Because that's really dodgy special effects.
Yeah, I would like that. Oh, Inside Man's Mike suddenly died. I don't know what's happened. He's.
I like the bad effects from the old days. Like those are fun to watch. It adds to the the vibe.
I don't mind if they're model effects because model effects can look all right, but the CGI in Babylon 5 is just that very bad Atari kind of Commodore level CGI, and it's not good. It really isn't.
It's mostly. Hey, Tony K in the chat. It's a brilliant show, you bunch of Philistines. Watch it. You've heard it from the master himself. Babylon 5 definitely needs an upgrade.
Yeah, I'd like to see it. Some of the cameras are really bad as well. So
I've never seen Babylon 5 either, honestly. Unfortunately, I hate to say that.
Babylon 5, very much worth your time. Very good story.
Yeah, Inside Man is head of the fan club. Oh, wait, his mic's gone again. I
also really want Deep Space Nine to get the treatment as well, but they won't do it. They keep giving us
like that show.
Crap Star Trek.
Deep Space Nine hasn't even been released on Blu-ray. I can't believe that.
Nope, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's absolute nonsense. I mean, you know. Anyway, all right. So yeah, just wanted to mention that briefly. Inside Man, what you got for us this week?
Well, I did some documentaries last week, and I'm going to start with the documentary this week, and that is Future Shock.
Oh, that's the 2000 AD one.
It's the 2000 AD documentary, which is a superb documentary. I thought I'd mention it because obviously on Friday there's the Pat Mills interview, which I think we're both very much looking forward to.
We have two more interviews this week. I was supposed to do an interview tonight. That unfortunately got postponed for 2 weeks' time. Personal reasons, as these things do. But yeah, I've got two more interviews this week, and one of them is with the godfather of British comics, Pat Mills, is coming on the channel on Friday. And he does feature in this documentary. Tell us more about it, Inside Man.
It's really the start, really how 2000 AD came about. Not necessarily just talking about things like Judge Dredd or Strontium Dog or Halo Jones, but it's really how this comic started, where it was born, and what it was born from. A period in the 70s in this country where we were having like a 3-day week. We had general strikes. We had a lot of law and order issues over here. We were called the sick man of Europe. Everything was kind of going to the dogs a little bit. And of course, Pat Mills created a comic called Action Comic, which was quite a controversial comic at the time, because it depicted violence in a relatively explicit way, really, for young children. I mean, these comics are supposed to be for pre-teen boys.
Hookjaw got banned.
Hookjaw was one of them. And from that, from when Action was, when Pat was taken to task over Action, somebody at IPC magazines had said, or IPC Publishing had said, what about a sci-fi? And of course he thought, yeah, why not? But they wanted to go with something a little bit more, a little bit closer to the French kind of metal hurlant sort of, that sort of science fiction, something a little bit harder, a little bit harsher. And that was how 2000 AD was born. On the 19th of February 1977 was the first issue, or Prog 1. And the rest, as I say, is history. But Judge Dredd, I think, didn't appear until issue 4, I think.
Yeah, he wasn't in the first issue. And Dan Dare was kind of plugged as the big
that's right,
point.
because exactly, and they made Dan Dare a little bit more of a harder character. I
much preferred him. I much preferred him in this version than I mean,
the version of him in the Eagle was very kind of okay, chaps, let's fire on all boosters, tally ho, that kind of
come along now,
very...
Digby.
Digby,
that mate called Digby, didn't he? Is it? Come along now, Digby.
I just had a load of Eagles turn up from eBay from 1987 through to 1992. It's like, my childhood, just I'm reading them again. And I'm like, I remember these when I was a kid. These are great. Yeah. Charlie's War and
Charlie's War was
great. Warrior, the 13th Floor. So good.
This is the issue of Action that was banned. This one was actually this was banned. I think
it has suicide written all over. Yeah, that's crazy.
Witness suicide scoop in Death Game 1999. Yeah,
this bottom footer. I kind of see why people would have a problem with this bottom footer.
It's sheer suicide not to read. commit suicide. He got the word suicide on it 3 times.
Yeah. And this was
so,
with this issue. I think this is issue 37. I think it is.
Yeah.
And with this particular issue, I mean, all of the newspapers, including like the Sun and the Evening Standard and the Daily Mail, and everybody was getting on top of it. On the back of this sort of, having to criticize it. We had Mary Whitehouse that called it disgusting, and it's the worst thing that children could ever.
You still can't buy it in the UK. I've had to import a copy of the collected edition in.
But
So I'm very much looking forward to getting that.
With that issue, only 30 copies of that issue actually exist now. The rest of them were withdrawn and pulped. So there's only 30 copies of that issue in the world.
Is that that's probably less than bloody Action Comics, like the Superman comic number one?
I wonder how much that sells for. How much would that sell for?
I'd love to know how much that sells for. Yeah, I'd love to know. Because
I bet it's more than 7p.
Yeah. I bet it's more than 7p. But do you remember a program called Nationwide, Lance? Do you remember Nationwide?
Yeah. I do remember.
Yeah. It was kind of like a regional news kind of current affairs, entertainment.
Wasn't Frank Boff one of the?
It was Frank Boff, and Frank Boff, the sanctimonious sphincter that he sat on Nationwide, decrying this comic. And he ripped up this issue of Action Comics live on air on Nationwide.
Yes, you said that in the comments.
Yeah,
I remember him from. I don't remember him from that. I remember him from another children's TV show, How To, I think it might have been, with Gaz something. And
no, that wasn't Frank Boff.
Was it not? Okay, fair enough.
That was Fred Dinich.
For anyone who hasn't seen it, this is Nationwide. And this was the early version, which I didn't see that. I didn't see that version. By the time I was watching it, would have been this one.
That's it. Yeah. Sue Lawley, Hugh Scully.
So it's like you're just waiting for like Alan Partridge to step out.
Oh.
Yeah, literally just waiting for him to come on. Shot of your guy on the bus heading to work. Anyway, enough of that. Let me turn that off.
But yeah, the Future Shock. I mean, anyone who's interested in comic books, full stop, will find the Future Shock documentary a really interesting watch.
Awesome. We'll have to check it out. Was it on Prime or something?
I mean, I've got a physical copy on Arrow Video. So I don't know where it's actually streaming.
I think it was. I think this documentary was crowdfunded, if I remember rightly. I think.
Okay.
I think it was a crowdfunded.
Yeah,
cool.
Sounds about right. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. I mean, Pat Mills features heavily in it. John Wagner features in it, and many other of the big sort of movers and shakers in British comics of the time. They all feature in it, and it really is a no holds barred. There's a lot of mudslinging in it, let's just say. Finger pointing and finger wagging, but
Pat Mills swears quite a bit in it, which is quite funny.
Yeah.
So Blue Collar Loser, sharp as an arrow. What you got for us this week, mate? What are you recommending us?
Let's see. The Chucky TV show, actually, because Enzo made a good point. In the past week, I started going back and watching the entire Child's Play franchise, and Enzo's correct that, you know what, in terms of horror franchises, people always think about the big ones, Freddy, Michael Myers, but Jason. But you know what? Child's Play is actually pretty freaking consistent. Considering Don Mancini created Chucky back in 1987, he's done every sequel, and Brad Dourif is still voicing Chucky at 75 years old. That's pretty impressive. I mean, come on.
Yeah, Child's Play 1 is actually scary. Child's Play 2 is the gory one, and 3 is the silly one, and then 4 is where it just starts getting off the rails.
Definitely,
after that, it starts getting meta, and because everything's got to get meta. And then we don't talk about the Mark Hamill version, obviously. That doesn't count.
The remake.
Right.
Yeah. Because the Chucky TV show, it's on Peacock now, but it was Sci-Fi and also USA. They did cancel. Well, they didn't renew season 4, but we got 3 seasons. But season 3 just ended, and Brad Dourif again is still voicing Chucky. each episode's about each season's 8 episodes. So my only flaw with the TV show is that everybody here loves Ash versus Evil Dead. I think what made that show great is they were half-hour episodes. My biggest problem with the Chucky TV show is they're too long. Like Chucky doesn't deserve to have hour episodes, especially 8 of them. So yeah, I would say like every episode, because Chucky and Brad Dourif are the best parts of the show. The problem is the new characters. The new characters, like I want Chucky to kill them. They're just boring and uninteresting. When he's on screen, it's fantastic. But like, imagine watching Ash versus Evil Dead and Bruce Campbell's in half the episode. It just wouldn't work.
Okay.
You know?
Well, we covered this show already on a previous episode when you weren't here. So we're not going to talk about it for half an hour now. But thank you for that. So people should
all the Chucky movies and shows recommend. I mean, they're all good.
That's another recommendation for that show. Inside Man, what else you got?
Well, I was actually. I mean, I spoke about Judge Dredd a few weeks back, and I know that we've spoken about Dredd. We did a Dredd v Judge Dredd, didn't we? I think it was you, myself,
and Matt. With Matthew Holmes, I think.
With Matt, yeah. And so I am actually going to talk about Dredd. I mean, recently rewatched it.
The Carl Urban one.
Yeah, it's a fucking good movie. It doesn't.
Crime hasn't had a sequel.
It's I mean, it's a hardcore film. It really is. It's no, it's a dirty, nasty, gritty, grimy film, and it's nothing like the Stallone one. Absolutely nothing. Like
Really isn't.
I am the
law. Keep his helmet on.
It's just.
Hasn't got Rob Schneider in it for a start.
But what a dreadful shame that this movie was not publicised the way it should have been.
I see what you did there. What a dreadful shame. I see that.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Well, I mean, the thing I remember was that this came out within a week of The Raid being released, and they both happened to be movies about policemen going into high-rise buildings, and somebody said, "Oh, the plot's the same and The Raid's better." I watched both films. Apart from that similarity, they're not remotely the same.
Right?
They just happen to both be set in high-rise buildings. That is where the beginning and the end of the similarity of the movie.
It's like when people say Kimba the White Lion and The Lion King are the exact same. It's like not even close. But yeah, I see what you're saying when you look at surface level.
I love the 3D in this film as well with the slow-mo.
Dude, the slow-mo music was it's Justin Bieber played through this like Paul stretch filter is what it's called. Slow it down like 1,000 times, you know, and you get sounds really cool. But yeah, this movie is great because like it's a great example of like usually sequels are bigger and better and more extreme, whereas this is like where we're gonna try a different iteration where we're gonna hyper focus it a a little. We're gonna narrow down the scope, and it's so much better because of that.
It's still got some great Easter eggs in it, though, nodding back to the 2000.
Oh, totally. The fat guy. I remember when the movie starts and they first get to the building, there's like the fat guy on the scooter that's dead. You're like, oh, yeah, hell yeah. This is a great comic nod.
Totally gutted that they didn't do a sequel, really, or a TV series. Or just
well, you know, if they do a sequel, they're going to go too hard. They're going to go straight to like the the dark judges or whatever, the Grim Reaper judges, whatever. What are they called?
Death.
Judge Death. Judge Death.
They'll pivot too hard to the extreme, you know, if they do a sequel.
If they're going to do a TV series, then season 1 should end with the arrival of Judge Death. It's a no-brainer. So what you do is you have a whole season about more regular kind of crimes, more regular kind of judge stuff, and you can throw in the odd. You know, you could have Chopper could turn up in it. Some of the more kind of not the big characters. Don't start with the Apocalypse War. Do you know what I mean?
I like but also go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So
I also like how Juno's little friend is actually the main character of the movie. She's the one that goes through the arc and everything, and that's like one of the best, like most satisfactory, like final lines of the movie. Like, she's a pass. It's like
Olivia Filbury's character.
It's great.
Anderson,
good stuff, man.
No, it's a really good film. I really like it. The bit where Judge Dredd comes out and just throws that flaming guy over the balcony.
Yeah.
It's one of the most Judge Dredd things I've ever seen. Just zero fucks given.
I think the best thing is that he keeps his freaking helmet on through the whole movie.
Yeah,
yeah. Carl Urban understood the assignment.
Drew, no, don't do the Cursed Earth, because the Cursed Earth is basically one long Mad Max film, and what you're doing is you're taking the judge out of Mega City 1, which is what is interesting. So don't
leaving the
Cursed Earth would be like season 6, or Cursed Earth would be like a spin-off show.
There's so many stories you can tell. A TV series would be a great fit for this. I think it's something to do with the rights, with Rebellion, which is why it's all not working. And
they also can't decide on what they want it to be. I've heard a lot of stories about it, but
also Carl Urban's kind of doing The Boys at the moment. But
maybe but The Boys is about to be over, so maybe he'd be looking for another series.
To clarify, Judge Dredd is American. He's not British. Anyone who's not sure about it.
But Carl Urban is completely on board with the TV series, isn't he? I think.
He's up for it. He's definitely up for it.
He's 52, so he could do a good 10
he could totally do it. Of course he could do it.
Ratings for Dredd, I give it 9 out of 10. Inside Man?
It's a 10 for me. I think it's actually got one of the best. We got one of the best cinematographers that works on this, Anthony Dodmantle, who is one of the greats, absolutely one of the greats, and the way he used that phantom flex to the kind of effect that he did on those slow-mo sequences was
I love that.
Staggering,
really good.
Just staggering.
Yeah.
That's a DOP. That is a DOP. That guy. 10 out of 10 for me.
The Lena Headey death scene was
that is so good. Her face hits the
other ratings, please. Other ratings. Tox, I got your note. Blue collar.
No, definitely 9. Real quick, this is the first film I think after Avatar hit with the 3D. I've seen this in theaters in 3D. The 3D effects were fucking fantastic, especially like the when the drug scene, the slow motion. Seen that in 3D, and I never forget when a bullet hit the guy's cheek and exploded in 3D. That's what the best 3D shot I've ever seen.
That was good. That was good.
So definitely 9 out of
10. Okay. Toxic. What would you give it out of 10?
10 out of 10, baby. 10 out of 10.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else out of 10? Who else has seen it?
10 out of 10 all day long.
Yeah, solid 9 out of 10. One of my favorite lines also is when he's like, they decide to go through those bad guys, and Judge is like, let's give them the good news.
He might not look like the comics, but he acts and sounds exactly the way I would expect him to from the comics. I do think it is actually maybe the perfect Dredd film for what it is,
Okay. Good. That's everybody. Everybody's giving it a rating. Okay. Very good. Tox, did you want to talk about Over Here?
Over There, yeah. Yesterday was Veterans Day, or Remembrance Day for our friends over in the UK, and I celebrated it with a Over There stream. It did get shut down a couple times, unfortunately, but Northern English Bastard managed to jump on with me, and we just did a recorded one, which they had no issue with for some reason when I recorded it. But we talked about some of the military movies that kind of have gone under the radar, and some of the military shows likewise. And I talked a little bit about my military experience. And one of the shows that I brought up that does not get enough attention is FX's drama from 2005 called Over There. And it is probably, I'd say it's one of the more accurate Iraq War dramas that was done. It only ran for one season on the FX channel and was quickly swallowed up. You had some breakout stars like Nikki Acox, who you would see later on in Supernatural and the Boogeyman movie. What was the Boogeyman movie called, Luke? Again, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was Jeepers Creepers, wasn't it?
Jeepers Creepers 2. She popped up in that. Sadly passed away a couple years ago. R.I.P. Nikki Acox. But it shows an experience of a squad of infantrymen and a couple of their support specialist teams. They do a clever way to inject a couple of females into what would otherwise be a male-centric show. That part's a little less believable, but it's okay. If you can suspend that much disbelief for that, and they're all brand new, and they have like a seasoned veteran sergeant who was on his 2 weeks to retirement type situation, and they kind of just show the experience of what it was like to be in Iraq in 2005 at like pretty much the height of the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, and I thought it was really well done. It had some cheesy parts. It had some things that aren't great. I've recently got it upgraded on my Plex Pass, so I'm currently on a rewatch. I had the DVDs back in the day, but have lost it during the course of time, obviously, as one does. But like I said, it's on my Plex Pass, and I'm rewatching it now. You can stream some of the episodes for free on YouTube, although they are of poor quality. If you don't mind the ads, you can watch some of them on Reddit and a couple of other streaming services, but don't try to stream them on your streaming service, even if they are altered content, because you will get shut down. So trust me on that one. It's got a pretty melancholy theme song, and it's like I said, it's forgettable in some ways, but in a lot of ways, it's what I remember the most. I saw it about a year or two before I deployed the first time. So it holds a special place in my heart. It's a pretty good show. I like it.
Yeah, I used to own the box set. I just went to have a look for it. Apparently, no longer. So yeah, I got the box set, picked it up in the States, in fact, and brought it back. Binge watched the whole thing. What's really good about it is that they shot a lot of it in this area that the military use for training.
The NTC. Yeah, it's called NTC at Fort Irwin National Training Command, or it's where you go for pre-deployment, because it looks, for some reason, God ran out of ideas when he made the Earth, and he made two places that look completely identical, and that's Death Valley in California near Las Vegas and Iraq. They look completely identical. So yeah, that's where they sent our troops, including me, to train for Iraq before you jump off and go there.
This has got a very kind of Band of Brothers vibe. Obviously hasn't quite got the scale, but they have done a really good job. It does look authentic. The battle scenes are very good. You've got that strange sort of backdrop of mixture of clash of politics and, are we really doing any good over there? And that's kind of explored. And I liked it. I thought it was a good show. Yeah, I'll give it a solid 7 out of 10. Some episodes are stronger than others, but yeah, it was good. Really liked it.
You never cease to surprise me with the stuff that you have knowledge of, Lance. Good for you, brother.
Well, I'm a big military historical guy. So, if it's out, I've usually seen it. Yeah, so it's a good recommendation.
Does anyone remember Generation Kill? Anyone remember Generation Kill?
Yeah.
I've seen that. I saw it at the cinema.
I felt like Generation Kill. You saw it at the cinema. What, they played the TV show at the cinema?
Oh no, hang on a minute. I'm thinking of what's the one with
you just totally screwed up me giving you a compliment. Jesus.
No, I have seen Generation. I have seen Generation Kill. Generation Kill is a TV series.
Yes.
I got it mixed up momentarily with the one with that actor that Inside Man's not a big fan of, who was in Life. He did that movie that's set right after the war in Iraq, isn't it? Where all the soldiers are over there and they don't know what to do and they're all like fucking around.
Talking about Jarhead.
Jarhead. I got it mixed up with sorry, momentarily got it mixed up with Jarhead because it's got a very Generation Kill. Generation Kill's got a very similar tone to Jarhead, the TV show. Tonally, it's a very similar kind of product. But I think Generation Kill was better. I liked it. Inside Man, you were going to jump in.
Yeah, I was going to ask about over there. So when was this made?
2005.
2005. Yeah. Right.
It was on FX during the time when it's before FX really broke out as they had The Shield going on, but they didn't have Justified yet or Sons of Anarchy or some of their other like really premier dramatic shows. So they were still they're kind of feeling it out. And I think people weren't really ready to see a realistic show about Iraq because so many, the war was really heavy then, and a lot of people were deploying and going over there. And I don't think people wanted to see that. The very first episode has, the guy sending a message home to his wife after he's had to kill his first insurgent, and she's riding some other dude in their bed. So, and that just rubbed people the wrong way. A lot of the stuff is just really too realistic. A young lady goes AWOL, she gets SA'd. stuff like that. It was pretty raw. I think today it would do a lot better. But I think at the time when people were still kind of riding high off of the 9/11 rah America's great type thing, they didn't want to see a realistic view of what was really going on over there. No pun intended.
I'm definitely gonna hunt this out. I'm gonna look for a physical copy of this. This is right on my street. This is really my
I'd lend you mine if I could find it, but I have a feeling it may have gone.
I've got one in storage, and one of my storage things that I put all my stuff in storage when I deployed, and it's my ex-wife has control over it, so it's lost and whatever.
What's the view on Generation Kill? How did people find that? That came out a bit later.
I thought Generation Kill came off a little bit. Now, obviously, everyone's going to be like, "Well, you're saying this because you were in the Army, and over there's an Army show, and Generation Kill is a Marine show." But I mean, it's Generation Kill is just really over the top to the point where some of the people are just like really cartoony and two-dimensional. I mean, I liked it. I liked it for what it was. The battle scenes are extremely realistic, and I know it's actually based on real events with the Rolling Stone novelist embedded with the Marine Corps platoon that was with the recon going out there. So that's cool, but it's just a lot of the characters are just extremely two-dimensional to me.
Right. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yes, that's interesting. I'd take that. Yeah, I think listening to you as a veteran, as somebody who's been there, done it, seen everything, that these shows are trying to depict. That's the kind of advice that I want. That's the kind of recommendation or nod that I want. That's going to make me want to go out and get one of these box sets. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for somebody who really knows what they're talking about and knows that these guys that made these shows know what they're talking about. So that's a really good recommendation. I'm really looking forward to hunting this one down, mate. Yeah, I'm gonna get this. Thank you for that.
No problem.
Enzo, what recommendations do you have?
I'm gonna burn through a couple of movies because I'm pretty sure you guys haven't seen them. First of all, real quick, just a sentence about it. You might have talked about it on a previous episode. I wasn't here, but I watched the John Williams documentary. Recommend. That was good.
Oh, it was good.
You guys know who John Williams is.
The composer.
Yeah, music by John Williams is what it's called. I recommend that. But I guess the big thing to talk about this week, I don't know if anyone else saw it, but I saw Heretic. Did you guys see it?
Yep.
No.
I've been hearing good things, though.
Right.
I have really good things.
This is the new what's his name's movie?
Hugh Grant. Yeah, this movie is a pretty. I recommend it. It's I don't want to spoil it. The whole plot's sort of shrouded in mystery, but yeah, it's a psychological, philosophical horror, and above all, it's an actor's movie. This is a movie I thought, like, if you had the same exact movie, same exact script, same exact direction, but a totally different cast for the three characters, you'd have a different movie. But yeah, Hugh Grant is great, and Sophie Thatcher from Yellow Jackets that Wes loves it. She's great too. Real standout though is the other girl, Chloe East. She's great too. But yeah, Hugh Grant is like deliciously evil or malicious or freaky or weird or creepy, whatever you want to call it. It's great. And yeah, it's just a fun, interesting movie, a head scratcher, kind of a movie that's don't worry about the plot holes or anything like that because it's one of these movies.
It poses questions. It makes you think about things. I didn't think it quite stuck the landing, to be honest. But
yeah, it's a little. I had a friend who loved Terrifier 3, and I asked her what she thought of this when she saw it. She's like, a lot of talking, and I was like, well, yeah, there's a lot of talking in this one. It's not. It's a lot more reserved than I thought it was going to be when I saw the trailer.
It asks a lot of philosophical questions, and I liked that about it. To be honest, I thought it was quite smart.
I want to watch it again for sure. But yeah, I give it a solid 7 out of 10. And then I guess moving on to the other stuff. I watched probably the best thing I've seen all year. I watched it totally randomly. It's a 50-minute long anime movie called Look Back. Apparently it's based on a manga. I've never heard of it, but yeah, I watched it only knowing it's about two girls that are like artists. They do manga or whatever. They're like work on the school comic strip newspaper for the school newspaper. And that's all I knew going in. I have to recommend this. It blew me away. It was so good. The animation's fantastic, obviously. As me, like a professional artist, so I don't know, maybe this just resonated extra hard for me, but it was just a really good movie about the creative process, and it takes you on an emotional roller coaster. So look back. I have to recommend that. Like I said, this might be the best thing I watched all year.
Nice.
Blew me away.
Wow.
So that was good. And it was short too. Like I said, it was 50 minutes long. The third thing I want to recommend is the Hallmark Christmas movie Trivia at St. Nick's, where
I know one of these.
I'm serious. This was good. It was about a lady who's a professor. She teaches astronomy at the university, and we're going through winter break, which means the students are going away, but also it's time for that yearly Christmas trivia contest they do at the local pub. And it's her and her mother and her 3 university buddies and this guy that she has a crush on, who's a very educated university guy, but he has to go teach in Greece for the semester.
Oh,
out of nowhere. He's bailing on the trivia, and they have to get the lousy football coach to help them. And he's just a jock who doesn't take anything seriously, but actually she finds out he's actually a lot smarter than she thinks, than she thought. And he's actually a real nice guy. And they basically have a budding romance and win the trivia.
So that's £4.50 on that poster.
And most importantly of all, he owns this jumper as well.
He's actually, he likes Christmas too, which he's got all the green flags down the list. But yeah, this is a sweet movie.
Hey, Lance, can I say something real quick on this? Just so you know what he's done to my life. My girlfriend listened to one of our streams where he was gushing about these kind of movies. So now she thinks it's completely appropriate to make me watch them with her now. She likes
I will say, if you have to pick one, I would recommend picking A Christmas Charade. This one was a FBI sting movie.
She had me watch the Lindsay Lohan one the other night.
Right. Now watch the Hallmark movie Christmas Charade. It's an FBI sting movie. It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe Hallmark made it. I was like, whoa.
Enzo, can you confirm that they're actually playing a tabletop Battle of the Bulge war game in this sequence?
No, it's yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah. It's a tabletop war games. But that was a fun one. But definitely watch Look Back. Check out Heretic. I don't know. You might want to wait till it comes on DVD or streaming, but I enjoyed it in the theater. It's really ranks up the tension. If you're a lady, it'd probably freak you out a lot more, honestly.
Can I just check? In trivia at St. Nick's, is one of the subplots that this guy's razor is broken. He can't get a razor in town.
No, he has
no
classic. I just got out of bed, kind of stubble, and he's easy go lucky, and she's very by the book. He teaches her how to have fun. He teaches her to go
spirit level.
Yeah, maybe studying for trivia. Maybe we should go do a wall climbing exercise and just have fun together, and we'll work better as a team. And she kind of learns, like, hey, he's on to something. I don't really care about the contest, the trivia anymore.
I wonder if she'll chase him down at the airport as he's getting ready to leave and confess her love to him. I wonder if that's
no, but that does happen in the movie called 5 Gold Rings, in which a woman has to get. She has her grandmother die. And she sends her a key that is like a hidden lock in her cabinet. And it turns out there's 5 golden rings that she found. And she wants her to track down the owners of these keys before Christmas, which is 9 days. And she enlists the help of a young private detective.
One Christmas movie is enough per week. Now, I want everybody to look.
It's barely November. I'm going to do this every week.
Guys, look closely at this. Look closely at this photo, right? Because this is a behind the scenes picture. This is not. This is on set.
Yeah.
This is between takes. So the actors have got they're carrying their Christmas scarves because it's a Christmas movie. He's got a fan to keep him cool because it's obviously being shot in California or whatever. Now, this lady who's probably like a continuity lady or whatever, look at her face. She is saying to the on-set photographer, don't you dare get my fucking face that I was on the set of this movie. That's what her face says right now.
Honestly, they probably get paid pretty well. But yeah, this movie was all digital snow. It's actually pretty impressive knowing that they filmed it in like spring in California because it's all like digital fake winter everywhere, which is fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, The other one, I gotta recommend something else real quick. A Different Man. A Different Man was also pretty weird. If you like the movie How to Get Ahead in Advertising,
dude, I feel like we haven't finished talking about trivia at St. Nick's yet. There's so much more mileage here with these stills. I mean,
totally.
They went all out on this. Look at
Maybe
this is a
real
big
trivia
budget
can be
movie.
made along the way.
Lance, do you know that because of Enzo, my girlfriend found out that they filmed a Christmas movie over here, like a mile away from where we live, over here in Atchison, Kansas. And she was like, we should go out there at Christmas time and we can see all the places where they filmed the movie and we can like reenact it. I'm like, Enzo, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna kill you.
Just humor her, man. But I gotta say, there was you showed a picture of a truck, and the truck had a sticker that said Hallmark movie, like HAUL, like Hall.
Yeah.
What the hell? That's amazing.
Look at this camera rig for a Hallmark film. This is pretty extensive.
Well, that's the other thing, man. Nowadays with indie, I talked about this briefly on my stream the other day, Sunday. But yeah, there was like the AI and the drone cameras and the ability to edit at home and stock footage, like the grandness, the grandioseness of how these indie films can get down the line is like scary. Like, you know,
look at this camera rig for this shot of these people going through the door. Me and the inside man could just stand on that fucking wall with the camera.
They don't. These movies are not. They're not cheap and they're not crappy. I mean, they are a little by the numbers, is what the problem is with the Hallmark movies. But there's definitely some attention to detail and some fine filmmakers behind these scenes who are churning these movies out. You guys understand? They've been churning out new original movies every day since Halloween, all the way up to Christmas. Like, that's crazy.
Wow.
Inside Man, did they have a rig like that for any of the shots on Band of Brothers?
No, not that I can recall.
The defense rests, Your Honor.
But what's also cool, I guess, because these digital cameras are a lot lighter, so you can have therefore the cranes don't need to be so intense. You know, it's pretty neat. You know, I'm not just talking about Hallmark. I'm just talking about movie making in general.
Yeah,
I feel like this photograph has been taken purely for the purpose of siphoning money through this movie, but I could be wrong. Yeah, okay. Well, I've seen enough to let me know whether I want to see this movie or not.
Definitely watch Look Back, guys. I want you guys to tell me about what you guys thought about that one.
So Look Back, what's that about?
That's it. That's an anime 50-minute anime. Best thing I watched all year. The less you know about it, the better. I totally recommend going in blind. Like, all you got to know about is kids. They work on manga and at the art college, the high school newspaper, middle school newspaper, and it's like a bit of a rivalry thing going. It's like jealousy leads to inspiration, leads to collaboration. Very good movie. Very, very good.
Leads to murder.
Okay.
Dude, I'm not gonna say anything, but dude, the movie shocked me and blew me away. You think it's gonna be a tiny little film? It's big.
Well, I thought Trivia at St. Nick's was going to be a tiny little film, but they had a huge camera rig. So the John Williams documentary you recommend? I'm guessing.
Yeah, this was good too. And yeah, every week, exactly. I find something better, Lord Toxic. Yeah, that's the thing. There was something I watched last month that was the best thing I watched all year. But I think Look Back, it's going to be hard to top unless Nosferatu really knocks it out of the park.
Northern, what have you got to recommend us this week, mate? Because Stupenzo's sound time has just run out.
Yeah, I'm done.
Well, yeah, just because it was Remembrance Day yesterday, I did rewatch Blackadder Goes Forth, which is the fourth series set during the time of the World War trenches, where Blackadder is now a captain and he has to deal with General Melchett, played by Stephen Fry, and has to put up and he has to put up with George, who's very loyal to the cause, but he's a bit of a dumbass, and the very lowly Baldric, who's also a dumbass and even more simple and much more dirtier and muckier and full of nits, and is kind of responsible for the gourmet food of shit pies and mud soup.
I feel I have to say there's something about you, Northern, that I feel embraces Baldric's qualities.
Yes, he's my fucking hero in this. You know,
are you fond of Kermit?
This season and the first season are my favourite Blackadders.
I've not seen the first season, and most people say
You've not seen the first season. Oh, it's a different dynamic.
No, utter bollocks. The first season of Blackadder's fucking brilliant. Absolutely.
And this is where it was different as well. Blackadder was kind of the simple guy doing the stupid
There is
things.
no funnier line in any show ever than when Percy says, "They do say that her eyes are more bluer than the famous stone of Galveston." And he's like, "What? The famous stone of Galveston, my lord? Well, what is it? It's a stone, and it comes from Galveston. Have you seen this stone? No, my lord, but they say it's very, 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 very blue indeed. Have you seen the Infanta's eyes? No, my lord. So, Percy, you're basically saying that something that you've never seen is slightly less bluer than something else that you've never seen. Well, yes, my lord, but they do say it's very blue." Anyway, it goes on like that, and it's just fucking brilliant.
That's a brilliant episode. That
episode is one of the best episodes of Blackadder ever.
Beard, isn't it?
Yeah, and that was back when Blackadder was the dumb one and Baldrick was the brains. But then they started, as soon as it went to Series 2, then they switched to Baldrick being the lowly sort of dumb sidekick who always messes up Blackadder's plans.
I liked Baldrick best in season 1, and that episode and the one when they're rifling the church for money.
Oh, well, they're not. Oh, that's brilliant. That one.
That's a great episode as well. Watch season 1. You're going to love it. Season 1 is brilliant. Anyway, let's focus on your choice. The
good thing is though, that you don't need to watch the other series because it goes in different periods. And
no, they're all
good. And Blackadder's basically this pompous Jack who's very smart, but he's always subservient to someone above him who's a bit more insane or dumb, and he is a little bit more sympathetic because he's stuck in his trenches in this war that he knows is insane. He knows it's pointless, and he knows he's going to die for no good reason whatsoever, and he is trying to get out of it, and he kind of do want him to do it, but he's still a bit of a jerk at the same time. And yes, we've got Rick Mayall returning as Flashheart, and he's fucking hilarious.
This is the best episode for me.
And you get Adrian Edmondson as the German officer who's keeping Blackadder and Baldrick as prisoners of war, and he's going to look after them. And they're glad to be prisoners of war because then they can avoid the war and survive it right up until they get fucking rescued. And it's like, this is the worst time to be rescued. It's so funny.
Remember, lads, treat your kite like you treat your woman. Get inside us twice a day and take it to heaven and back.
Oh yeah, Flashheart is so good.
It's like, and I'll be back for breakfast. Oh, it's just so good.
But
there's a good line where Flashheart. Yeah, there's a good line where Flashheart goes, "If I don't report in, 1,000 women kill themselves. I can't have that on my conscience. Not when they ought to be on my face."
So I will give each of my panelists a quick word about Blackadder Goes Forth, and will you rate it out of 10, please? Inside Man.
I couldn't believe how good this series was. I thought it was.
Oh, it was.
I thought that this was because we'd had some years between Blackadder the Third and Blackadder Goes Forth, and I wasn't too keen on the idea of maybe them coming into the 20th century.
They originally it was going to be, they were going to be in a rock band, weren't they? That was the first thing that was and I was like, no, that's going to be a poor man's Spinal Tap. That's a terrible idea. But they dumped it, thank God.
But seeing this all the way through, I mean, on its original broadcast, and being a fan of the others, the previous 3 series, when it got to that final episode, I mean, it's one of the greatest pieces of British television I think that's ever been produced. It's one of the finest pieces of writing, of satire that's ever been written, that's ever been filmed. Certainly British television. It really is.
It doesn't feel inconsistent as well to the comic tone. And I like the fact that even Officer Darling isn't sort of like being treated like shit by Blackadder this time. He's like soon as because he starts off as a very unlikable brown-nosed bureaucrat, but as soon as he gets sent to the trenches to die, you do
that
feel
last episode is incredible.
Yeah,
absolutely incredible.
And even Blackadder is
I think watching
a bit more understanding towards him. Even Blackadder is a bit more understanding to Darling as well. And I love Darling's reaction. It's like, I registered my diary on the way here, simply titled "Bugger."
Yeah,
and it's very funny, but at the same time, it's so haunting as well, and you do feel bad for him.
It's the pathos, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It's that pathos. It's I think you go a long way to try and find something that's as good as this in terms of British comedy. It really is. It's right up there, isn't it? It's right up there with the absolute best.
And it does make fun of the insanity of the generals who are basically
the whole way
using us as pawns, using our lads as pawns.
The crap out of the way the war was fought,
like they keep running. They keep ordering soldiers to run into machine guns, and is going.
The guns have stopped. So what does that mean? That means that General, what's his name, has taken the opportunity to move his drinks cabinet 2 meters closer to Berlin. It's really
Inside Man rating out of 10.
A 10.
10. Okay. Easy. Blue Collar. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't. Sorry.
Really good.
Moving on.
It's incredible.
Toxic. Have you seen it?
I have not, sir. No, I don't know.
You definitely need to watch it. Critical out of 10.
10 out of 10 all day long. I have all of the Blackadder's on DVD, Blu-ray.
I've seen all of Blackadder. 10 out of 10. I watched it when I was a growing herb, and burned through it. And it's one of those shows where, like, first season, I really think the show gets better each season. So
yeah. I agree.
I don't like season 3. I mean, I probably need to watch it
really?
again.
I love season 3.
I didn't like it when it came out because it was too Jeeves and Wooster, Hugh Laurie and what's his name doing their thing from their other show. And I just felt
like where he's writing the dictionary is fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
I love that Stephen Fry in season 3.
I bet if I watch it now, I'll like it a lot more. But
I knew going in that each season is like a new time period, which I thought was cool, But I'm assuming at the time that'd be weird and like what risky.
The Christmas special's really good as well because it's
I like it.
Yeah, where he's kind of like Scrooge, but he's a really nice guy. And everyone else is fucking asshole. I love it.
Great, and I take it, Northern. That's a 10 out of 10 for you.
It is a 10 out of 10. Come on, it's so good. It's so clever. It's so poignant, and the performances are so good. It's one of the best sitcoms, and this is probably one of the best series of a sitcom as well.
I've asked Gary Bolter to come on and defend himself. I think the first season. I still think the first season is very good. So we'll see. We'll see if he pops on. Okay, I'm going to recommend. We're going to talk about a couple of other things very quickly. So I've got a documentary that I watched a little bit. There were some interesting things, but I wouldn't say I do recommend it if you're into the subject matter. But did anyone else see this on Netflix? 6 episodes, Investigation Alien.
No.
Okay, so on the one hand, you could argue that this documentary is part of a groundswell of stuff prepping us for contact with aliens or
Project
people finally
Bluebeam.
People fessing up that they've got ships and all the rest of it, which by the way I do firmly believe, because the evidence that's coming out now is very, very credible. On the other hand, you could also argue that this is a show that doesn't have that much new stuff, with a lot of padding and a lot of people talking to camera and going to explore caves and things where there might be alien spaceship bases and talking about seismographs and stuff like that, which is not the most exciting. But yeah, it's one of the stronger and most up-to-date documentaries I've seen. It just dropped this week. Anyone else see it? Anyone?
No, but I'm a massive skeptic, as you probably know.
No, I know you are, yeah. Can't wait till the UFO lands outside your house, though.
That's when I'll believe it. That's when I believe it.
Yeah.
I'll be, mate, I'll be piloting it because we're here already.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got another film.
There's life out there. I do not believe that life would come and see us and spin around in flying.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, they're already looking down at us, thinking, "Fuck that."
Yeah.
There's an episode on the Arizona sighting, which is a really credible UFO sighting. Literally thousands of people phoned in about it. There's great footage. That episode is particularly interesting, just for anyone who does want to check it out. I also saw this. My Old Arse. It is not the biopic. It's not the biopic of the Inside Man's life on set.
Finally, somebody else watched this.
Yeah. Well, now here's the thing. I put this on as I'm going to fall asleep when this is on. I probably won't be that into it, and I thought it was going to be lesbian, a romance, blah blah blah, and it kind of is that, but. Okay, I'm going to get into some spoilers. So for anyone who hasn't seen it, just warning you, there's spoilers coming. I know my panel will all be itching to watch this as soon as we get offline. But the basic plot is that the girl on the right is visited by her older self, who's the girl on the left, when she smokes a particularly strong brand of weed. This is the sort of thing that happens to Enzo on a weekly basis. Yeah,
mushrooms.
It's an hourly basis, bro.
Yeah, sorry, it's mushrooms in the tea, isn't it? It's
yes,
that she put
mushrooms
in the tea. Sorry, and her older self is trying to steer some of her decisions so that the outcome is different. And it's a bit like the time traveler movie. I kind of liked that. I kind of thought that of itself was when that plot is presented to us near the beginning, I thought, this is all going to turn out to be a gag, and 20 minutes in, this movie is going to be about something else. But no, actually the main plot thread is young girl gets high on mushroom tea, meets older self. It's a bit like that movie Frequency, where the young guy can speak to his dad in the past. This is, I can speak to myself in the future. The myself in the future tries to steer her from making one particular decision, which is a life changer. And I actually have to say, I found the last 20 minutes of the film very fucking moving.
Heartbreaking.
It was a bit tedious in places getting there, but overall, I have to say this film surprised me. I thought it was pretty good. And as Tox said, because Tox and I pretend to be big macho men, but we're both big soppy people inside, really.
No, I don't pretend. I'm gay. I'm super gay, dude. I've told like many times I'm super duper gay.
Yeah. So that's, well, I mean, you've got the addition joy of sex for men. So look, I mean, it's good. It's a good film. You probably watch it. You might watch it. You might get 20 minutes in and you might go, oh no. But I would say stick with it because it's worth it. Oh no, we've lost connection with Blue Collar. What's going on? Anyway, So, this stream's getting smaller by the minute. Yeah. So, what would you give it out of 10, Tox?
I'll give it a. You know what? Because I was so shocked. It's a 10 out of 10, man. It is really good.
Wow.
I watched it twice. I watched it once when I was on my tree cutting garbage dumping adventure in Florida. I watched it at a movie theater because it was all that was playing when I got off of work, and I was like, well, whatever, I'll just watch this because I just like going to the movies. And then I watched it again now that I have it on my Plex Pass. I put it on for my girlfriend to watch, which she fell asleep. She wasn't interested in it, but I watched it again. I watched it again anyway, and I you know what? I'm not ashamed to tell you that I teared up a little bit near at the end of the movie.
I teared up. I teared up. I did more than tear up. I had a proper cry. All
right, well, that's super gay. That's a little too gay, but I mean, I did tear up.
Well, it triggered a bereavement issue with me.
No, I hear you. I hear you. If you've lost somebody,
but
really,
you know, I mean, that's also a skill of a filmmaker. That is a particular skill. If you relate to a film in a certain way, and that film makes you cry because it connects to something personal to you in your life elsewhere, I'd say that's the biggest credit you can give a writer or a director. It's the biggest compliment. And it definitely did that for me. So I'll give it an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to give it a 10, but I go give it. Blue Collar Loser watched it immediately. What did you give it?
I want to see it now. Sounds actually like a good movie.
Yeah. Damn, stop behaving like a child.
That's inside.
Inside man. Is he still giggling?
He's a bad influence.
Yeah, he's still laughing. I have to take
Caller is extremely susceptible to contagious laughter.
He is. He is.
If so, it's like when one person pukes and everyone starts puking. He's like that, but laughing.
Spread through my show like rot. Has anyone else seen this before I move on and possibly bring the inside man back in after he's got off the naughty step?
No, but it's been on my list, on my radar for a while.
Can I say something about it really quick, Lance? I promise I won't go long.
Yeah. No. Go for it.
It's been for anyone who's watched her on Criminal Minds and some of her more serious stuff like Melissa the Criminal or whatever it is that she did, where she played the criminal last year. I forget what it was called. You know what I mean? Someone get that. That's not the right name of the movie that she did, but when she does these serious roles, and even though she is a little cheeky in this at the beginning, she can Aubrey Plaza can really sell it, man. And I don't know this younger actress. She looks and sounds exactly like my daughter, which kind of got me a little more choked up. And then of course you put yourself in the position of, you know, your 40-year-old self talking to your 18-year-old self and seeing all the stuff that's in front of you. And you put yourself in that, like, if you made a bad decision and you could get yourself to change it, would you change it? Or did that bad decision, or just, well, in this case, a heartbreaking decision, would you save yourself that pain, or is that something that made you who you are? So
that dilemma is really poignant in the film. It's really good. Has to be said. And you know, you look at the poster for this and you think you're going to get a certain type of film, and for the first 25 minutes you're thinking, it is that kind of film. There's I'm probably not going to get much out of this. But
I'm glad you said that. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've got to get through the first.
You got to hang in there. Yeah.
The first act of this movie is like a completely different film, but that's very deliberate because they're setting you up for a big fall.
Old bait and switch.
Yeah. So, but it's good.
I was on my phone the first time. It's okay. The first time I watched it, I was on my phone and not really paying attention to it, but it's after the first, I think 20-25 minutes that it gets.
I'm going to watch it again, actually, but I just, I need to be in the right headspace. My final one is Paris Has Fallen. I mentioned this before a few weeks ago when I'd seen the first 3 episodes. This is produced by the same team as the other Fallen series, London Has Fallen, and so on. This is a mini series. It's available on Amazon. It is a co-French Avi learner slash what's his name? Butler. Mr. Butler's a producer on it. It's pretty good. There's a lot of nonsense in it. There's a lot of improbable James Bond-esque coincidences, and some of the action is really good. Some of it's a bit silly. But overall, if you can just park the reality checks and just sit back and enjoy it for what it is, which is a fairly well-written, fun action romp about a terrorist group trying to set off a nuclear bomb in Paris, it's not bad. There's a lot of box ticking going on, but I don't mind that when the spine of the thing is pretty good. I don't have a problem with that when the spine's good. And the narrative is pretty strong. You can watch it on Amazon now. There was a weird thing going on with Amazon where I kept putting the subtitles on, and the subtitles would not come up in the French scenes. I was getting subtitles for all the English scenes, which was very unhelpful. And for the French scenes, I'd get no subtitles, and then it suddenly corrected itself yesterday. So they must have had a bit of a glitch, but fortunately I speak a little bit of French, so I got the gist. But yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Anyone else seen it?
A wee bit of French, is it?
Nope.
Is it a wee bit of French?
Oui.
No.
Petit.
A petit? Oh.
Bonjour, Lord of Toxicity. Comment allez-vous?
Baguette. Comment tout ça fait? Baguette.
Anyway, before we divulge into that, it's not a foreign language class. Has anyone else seen this show?
No, this poster doesn't really blow my skirt up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just
this looks like it looks like one of the Haji DVDs that you'd buy in the market square over in Baghdad. It's like it's based off of something else. It was like filmed. It was like filmed on a budget.
I saw your movie. I saw your movie. Good action. Good
action movie.
Like it.
Good action movie.
No, it's better than that. It's got some really good action scenes. It's got a pretty big budget behind it. They shot some scenes in some fairly major parts of the city of Paris, so there would have been some pretty big location shutdowns and things of that nature. Sean Harris is very good in it. He's playing a role he's played dozens of times before, but that's probably why they cast him.
He's always got Sean Harris, though. I mean, he's a good
the same thing he played in Mission Impossible.
I mean, the action scenes and the fight scenes in it are pretty good. I was a bit unsure about the female lead, but I have to say she really acquitted herself. Very, very good physically. She was convincing in terms of her weapons craft and stuff like that. Now, this girl in the Jackal show would have been much better choice in terms of her casting. But
just from that top alone, for sure.
I'm talking from an acting and character narrative.
So was I, obviously.
But it's Ritu Ara is the actress in question. So pretty good cast in this, though. I have to say, most of the supporting cast, there was a lot of people that were unknown to me, various French actors and so on. But yeah, pretty good cast, I thought. So it's worth checking out. So anybody else got any other recommendations before we wrap up?
Yeah, I've got a couple. Well, I don't know about recommendations.
Go for it, mate.
I saw Red One.
Oh,
Red One.
How was that?
That's the new Christmas movie.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. It's another Christmas movie. It's not another Hallmark, is it?
It's the one with The Rock and Chris Evans. It's a big deal.
This is the one with Chris Evans and The Rock in it.
Yeah, and J.K. Simmons
playing Santa Claus.
I saw the trailer for this. It looks fucking dreadful.
Very marvelous.
The one with the snow people in it. There's like the snow.
Yeah,
the Rock goes, "Hey, we got snow people." And
it's quite Marvel-like in many ways.
I thought it was a Marvel film. I thought they were all playing their characters from Marvel when I saw the trailer. It's not a Marvel film.
Chris Evans is desperately trying to get himself not typecast as Captain America. But unfortunately, he just seems like Captain America undercover.
I thought he was playing Captain America in it.
The Rock's got this kind of device that allows him to shrink and go bigger again. So there's Ant-Man. The North Pole is basically Wakanda because it's got a great big dome over it. And it's also Asgard because it's got the Rainbow Bridge. And the climax of the movie even takes place on that bridge. It's absolutely mental. But the design of it's quite nice. Like Santa's sled looks like all futuristic. And the premise is kind of okay. It's like this mythological government department called Moira, headed up by Lucy Liu, who's not great in this. And they basically look after all of the mythological things in the world. They oversee it all. And one of them is obviously Santa Claus. And he gets kidnapped by somebody who is essentially bloody Hela out of Thor Ragnarok. So there's another Marvel connection. And it really does come across as that. It's got some good moments, but it is badly written all over the place. But, there's a little something about it. I'd give it like a 6 out of 10. I didn't hate it, but I don't need to watch it again. Yeah, because I find that The Rock is so into these roles, these kind of half comedy, half buddy kind of roles. Yeah. Chris Evans is trying; he's all right. There's some half decent action, and as I say, I quite like the design of a few things.
Did everyone have a rubber gun on the set? Because
no, not from what I could tell. Although I didn't see a lot of guns. One really weird thing about this film is actually it's a 12A. And there's a lot of swearing in it.
What is 12A? What does 12A mean?
It's like a PG-13.
Yeah, PG-13.
Oh.
So for a Christmas film, it seems weird to not make something that's accessible for the kids. Because if you took the swearing out, apart from a couple of scary scenes with the Krampus and stuff like that shows up, I would have said this would have been a good kids' Christmas movie, but there's too much swearing to make that the case, you know. But the reindeer are like Shire horses, and they've got warp antlers and all. You know, there's some stuff to like about it, but it's another modern movie, badly written. But it had a father-son dynamic that I quite liked. I'm a sucker for that kind of thing. So, you know, maybe catch it when it comes out on streaming, but it's not worth going to see at the cinema. It is as modern. It's not. The thing is, though, what I would say is it's not what I would call woke in any way. In fact, the women are very underserved in this. The villain is a woman. And she doesn't get to do anything.
It might seem like an obvious question to the layman, but why is this polar bear wearing a sort of combat outfit that says elf on it when he's a polar bear?
Elf is the name of the division. So rather than calling the Rock an elf, because he's like 500 years old, it's enforcement, logistics, and something. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's
a government type thing.
As they say in Spinal Tap, there's such a fine line between clever and stupid.
Did you guys know that all of Santa's reindeer?
You know, there was a few things I quite liked in it. You know, it wasn't horrible, but it's not a good movie.
What would you give it out of 10?
It's a 6 out of 10.
That's great.
Has anyone else seen it? Enzo, have you seen it? You going to say something?
No. I was going to say, do you guys know that all Santa's reindeer are female? Do you guys know that? It's true.
No.
Neato.
No. But how do you know? Have you looked? Were you there?
Yeah, I just heard it from the elves.
I mean, if I was going to take anybody's expertise on Christmas, that would probably be Captain Hallmark over there.
Yeah, you can see his sled there was like a great big rocket ship, and there's like seats for 4 people and stuff like that. So it's got a crazy big budget. 250 million.
When I see a shot like this, the next thing I want to see in this sequence is Brian Blessed flying out the clouds going, "Stand by, my Hawkman, ready to attack Santa's sleigh."
It's quite funny when the reindeer go to warp because their antlers glow blue, and then they
warp. They go to warp speed.
They go to warp. They go sort of super light speeds kind of thing. It's not depressing. It's more or less set up as a comedy nearly all the way through. Even
I'm not laughing, but okay.
But I just couldn't believe how Marvel-like it was. I was like, wow, it's just, you know, bits of Thor Ragnarok in there, bits of Ant-Man.
I saw a trailer for it. I saw like 30 seconds of the trailer, and I instantly went, "Oh my god, another Marvel film!" And I switched off the trailer. Honestly, I thought it was a Marvel movie.
Very Marvel-like. But yeah, it was all right. And then the other one I watched, Lance, are all swear words allowed on this stream or?
Fuck yeah. Go for it.
I watched a film where Ian McKellen says "cunt."
Nice.
Excellent. Well, which film was that? Was it was it Captain Guntington's Gunty Escapades, or which movie?
It's Lord of the Rings, the uncut version. Cunting hobbits. No, it's called The Good Liar.
I
think on Netflix last night.
Yeah, was that good?
Is that a new film?
Yeah,
2019.
Oh, yeah, no, I saw the trailer, but I haven't seen it. Worth seeing?
It's okay. It's very, very amusing to see Ian McKellen, who is obviously a mighty fine actor, playing. So he's a con man through and through, and he's conning this old woman. And obviously, from the very start, she's really conning him.
I've seen it. I've seen this. This came out in 2019, man.
Yes, so 2019.
New for you, but not new for me. I have seen this movie. It is good. I did like it.
The acting is really, really superb. I did feel that it got a little bit. It did so much exposition and loading at the end of the film that I felt it kind of lost its way a little bit. I don't want to spoil anything, but like there's revelation after revelation after revelation after revelation. It's like, whoa, calm down a little bit. I didn't mind it when he was just this con man working, you know, and then it gets really involved and stuff. But when you get two performers like this, you're going to get good acting, you know.
Right. I do.
I would give this one like a 7 out of 10.
Okay.
You've seen this, Lawrence?
Yeah, I saw it at the cinema.
Oh wow! Okay, cool.
I'd give it. It got a limited release in central London. In fact, I think it was an industry screening, although McKellen wasn't there. I think he was supposed to be there, but you know,
it's very, very funny watching him swear like he does.
He called me on my mobile once.
Oh, cool.
I shit you not. True story. And I said, "Is Lance Nielsen there?" "Yes." "Ian McKellen here?" And I was like, "My fucking life." Yeah, and that's honestly that was what it was like. I was in the middle of this park at the time. It was really hot, surrounded by all these people, and all I wanted to do was stand up with my phone in the hand and go, "Gandalf is calling me." But I didn't do that. I contained my excitement. But he was calling to let me know he couldn't meet me for a drink after the show that he was in that I was coming to watch. So, because he had too many guests that day. So, but he called me to let me know he couldn't make it, which was didn't need to do that. So that was very
what you expect from Sir Ian.
So
yeah, that was pretty. I watched that last night, and I was like, it was all right. I felt the ending. It was a little bit manufactured. It is based on a book, but I thought the ending was just a little bit manufactured, a little bit over the top. And the only other thing that I saw was you've probably talked about it. The Substance.
Yeah, we covered that on a previous show, so I won't. On the whole, we all liked it. Tony Kaye, who, as we know, is the secret producer of this show, said that Toxic wanted to recommend something else. Did you have something quickly? I have already gone half an hour over time.
Hopefully.
I thought I was supposed to wait on that. I don't know why he's telling me to say that. I thought I was supposed to do a stream on it on the trainer, but because I got a preview thing, but I thought we were going to do that at another time, so I didn't want to blow my load.
Yeah, no. I've been in touch with Tony about coming on. It's a little bit up in the air as to because he's in LA, I think, at the moment. But
that's what I understand.
But he has expressed a willingness to come on and do an interview, which would be great. So, and I think the interview is going to be focused on the present movie, basically.
Yeah, well, I've seen it, right?
Oh, you've seen it now?
Yeah,
I haven't seen it. Yeah, he said
I got a link for it.
He said that he might come on next week, so that'd be great. So Tony, if you're still up for that, just give me a time that works for you, and I'll try and fit round you as much as I can.
Just tell me when you want me to talk about it, Lance.
Well, I mean, don't give us any spoilers, but give us a brief. What were your overall thoughts on it?
It's good. It's like it's kind of like that movie that Blue Collar and I reviewed back when we used to do the one with Meth Damon in it, and the 3-parter that was all over the place. What was that called? Blue Collar.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Kinds of Kindness.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if that's a good. I don't want to spoil anything because I was told not to. In fact,
don't. But I mean, did you enjoy the film? What kind of genre would you put it in?
I don't know what comedy, subversive comedy, kind of like that, kind of like along those lines. Like if you like Kinds of Kindness, you'll like this. It's kind of hard to quantify and explain what it is without giving too much away. It's interesting, and it's got my favorite thing is it's got a bunch of actors that you would ordinarily not plan to see together in the same film. And I've
seen the cast lineup.
I'm excited about it.
I absolutely love, and in fact, Jeffrey Byron, who I interviewed last week, is he's best friends with Colleen Camp, who I'm a massive fan of, and Colleen Camp is in this movie.
Yeah. If you were thinking,
let's have a quick look at the cast.
Yeah, go ahead. If you were thinking, yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry, go on.
If you know who Tony Kaye is, and he's done, a lot more than just American History X, and the version of American History X that we saw was not his intended version, yada yada yada. So I mean, you can go on his Instagram and see some of the stuff that he posts. He's very active on Instagram and Twitter X, and it's really hard to put American History X next to this film. It's like it's like a plate of hot salsa chips next to cottage cheese. In the difference between the two things, it's so night and day. Although Beverly D'Angelo is in both, so that's
I noticed that. I mean, how Tony Kaye ended up connecting with us all is because I did a stream on American History X, and I contacted him and invited him on. That was when he started popping up everywhere.
Partially true.
No, that was way before he came on anybody else's channel.
Yeah, he even gave me a nice little super chat on I think one of my Penguin streams, was it? I can't remember now.
Yeah, that was all after that. So, and don't forget, I invited him on like way before the American History X stream even aired. So that's when he started popping up around our various respective channels. Anyway, good. Okay, so the consensus is good, which is good. Beverly D'Angelo, I absolutely love. Gina Gershon, I absolutely love. Stephen Dorff, I like. Lenny Kravitz is okay. I haven't really seen him do loads.
Who's good at it? Who's good?
Yeah, Gail King is good. Colin Camp is brilliant.
Even Steven Van Zandt.
Yeah, is John McEnroe playing himself? I think there's probably a few people playing themselves, right?
I can't say without spoiling certain things.
Because it follows Jack, a fitness expert living with his mother in Los Angeles, who takes a maniacal swing at fame and fortune, pursuing his vision of the American dream. I mean, I'm sold just on that premise alone. So,
if you read Elmore Leonard novels, not the heavy crime ones, but the kind of whimsical ones, it's whimsical. It's a very whimsical film in the way that it's structured and the way that it's done. I don't know if that's a satisfying answer.
There's a 10 out of 10 first review on IMDb. We'll wait to see. But I'd love to watch it. When's it getting a general release? Do we know when the general release?
That's weird because it's up in the air because it released overseas and it's on my Plex Pass now, but it's not. My Plex tells me who has watched what, and I'm not seeing a big rating on it on Plex, so it's strange. I'm not sure how that's working. I kind of get the impression that he's trying to get like a Christmas big release is what I understand. I don't know. You'd have to ask him and see what's holding that up. I know they do that sometimes. You guys had a British film with Anthony Hopkins come out like a whole year before we got it over here in the States.
It does happen occasionally. But you got Fish Called Wanda a whole year before we did, and I was in America when it came out. So
that's
quite unusual seeing a British comedy. It was the same with Four Weddings and a Funeral as well. I think that was released in the States before it was released in the UK.
Yeah.
So it was
it's released overseas, so you should be able to get to it, Lance.
Okay.
As of November 7th, it was released overseas.
Okay, so I'll track it down. I'll tell you what. Well, we did say we'd do a special stream on it, didn't we? You and me.
Right. That's why I was shutting it. That's why I wasn't talking about it.
Yeah, no, just keen to your first thoughts, but we don't need to get into the deets. Okay, great. All right then. So, guys, we're gonna wrap up. We've gone way over. So I'm not gonna go around and ask everybody what you're doing. Everybody's doing something. Check out everybody's channels. But I've got 2 more interviews coming up this week, including one on Thursday, which really needs supporting because it's an independent producer and screenwriter called Damari Dowie, who's coming on the channel. Has worked on a film called Say Nothing, which actually was directed by somebody else who's already been on the channel. So this is the producer of the same movie, got a new project coming up. She's coming on Thursday at 8 o'clock. And then on Friday, I have the godfather of British comics himself, Pat Mills, is in the house. Inside Man is co-hosting that with me, along with Tomby, who are all big fans of 2000 AD, and we've all kind of been into 2000 ADs in different eras. Obviously, Inside Man will be covering things like the 1940s Dan Dare Eagle comic, and I'll be covering the later stuff. But Pat Mills coming in, the godfather of British comics.
Can't wait
So that's on Friday.
What time?
I think it's slightly earlier than usual. I think we might be starting at either 6 or 7.
Okay.
So it's already up on the channel though. So
sweet. I'll put it up for notification then.
Yeah. So guys, that's it from us on the Nielsen ratings. It's been a bit of a long one, but that's because I put loads of extra people on today. So, but thank you very much for everyone who's come on and watched and taken part, put a comment in the chat, etc., etc., etc. Your presence here is very much appreciated. Thank you to my usual co-host, Penzo, the inside man who had to drop off because he was due on set, Northern English Bastard and Blue Collar Loser, and my additional guests, Lord of Toxicity and Critic Al. We've got shorter end credits now. Check them out.